Kurt,
Sam!
basketball's back.
July 31st.
I know it's gonna be a good time. Have you heard about the format? It's new.
No.
You
I haven't
have
heard
it.
about it.
You haven't at all? You have a podcast that just had a new episode come out yesterday about the entire new format?
I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't me.
Well, for you guys watching, I need you to go listen to the new episode of Highlighted. All right, well, I'm still going to recap it for you. Also, to the watchers that haven't heard about this yet, but you probably all already have. So it's going to be 22 teams, and it's going to be the initial 16 playoff teams that were already in before the suspension, and then 6 additional ones, which are Phoenix, Portland, San Antonio, Sacramento, New Orleans, and Washington. I don't know why the hell Washington's in there. Who really cares about Washington?
Dude, come on now.
I mean,
come on.
Do you really care about Washington, Kurt?
Oh, I care.
You care.
Yeah. I mean, am I ruling out that we're going to beat the Bucks in the first round? No, I'm not, because...
Well, you have to beat the Magic twice, so good luck with that. Every team is going to be playing 8 regular season games before the playoffs start. If the 9th seed in each conference finishes within 4 games of the 8th seed, there's going to be a mini play-in tournament. And it's going to be double elimination for the 8th seed, so they just have to win 1 game out of 2 in order to maintain that 8th seed. Or the 9th seed has to win 2 games in a row and not lose anything to get the 8th seed. Just to lose to the 1 seed, obviously.
Unless it's the Washington Wizards.
Then it's going to be, for the playoffs, the regular East versus West that we're used to. No 16 seed, no World Cup system that they apparently thought about. Game 7 of the NBA Finals is to take place on October 12th. Now, Bucks in 6, obviously, so that's not going to happen. But 3 days later, that's when the NBA Draft is going to take place on October 15th. And free agency will start on October 18th. So within 1 week, we get all of that. One extra little detail about this season is that the coronavirus testing. So obviously, every team's going to be in a bubble site in Orlando, Florida, Disney World. And all players and staff are going to be tested every single day for COVID-19. And if someone tests positive, they have to quarantine for at least 7 days.
And what's interesting is, like, if a certain player, obviously if it's a very valuable player to that team, they get corona, what's going to transpire? You know, how is that going to affect the series? Because if Bradley Beal, let's just say, because, you know, Wizards fan, have to bring him up,
of course,
gets corona, like, how is that going to affect our team? Obviously, our chances to get into that 8th seed or at least win games is very unlikely to occur.
Yeah, that's why I think they're having everyone report in early July to Orlando, and they're testing throughout. So if people have it when they show up, then maybe it'd be a lot less likely of an occurrence that someone would actually test positive during the playoffs. Yeah. But we don't really know. This virus comes out of nowhere for everyone. Just to kick it off with a little just a little short, easy question. What are your overall thoughts on this format? Do you like it?
So when you haven't seen the NBA play for, like, what was it, 3 months, 4 months it's going to be in July?
Yeah.
Like, it's so, like, easy to like a format because you're just so excited with the NBA returning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's maybe a couple things, you know, it'd be really interesting to see, like, the World Cup format with, like, the group stage, I guess. That's what they're called, the World Cup or whatever. So maybe it'd be interesting to see that. And even if it's, like, going straight into the playoffs with 16 teams, that would be interesting to see. But I think the 22 team was the best option the NBA and Adam Silver could provide. And I think that, you know, you can't get too mad with NBA returning, whatever the format may be. So I'm happy with it. You know, I would probably, in all honesty, with me being such a big soccer fan, like, I'd be kind of cool to see, like, the World Cup kind of style. I
do appreciate. I just don't think that'd work well for basketball with, like, 7-game series and.
I guess.
It could not be actually 7 games. It'd have to be Like,
I'm just saying, like, it would be interesting. I'm not saying it do well. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes.
Right. So I think this, though, is one of the best options they could do. I'm fine with it. NBA's back. Like, I can't be mad. Literally, I'm so excited.
Yeah, the NBA's back, and now, yes, you could argue that now is the time to experiment with stuff if you wanted to experiment.
Why not experiment things when it's a little bit of an altered season, you know? Yeah. Why not just go for things?
But my question is, would you have preferred the 16 seed playoffs over the traditional East versus West that we are used to?
I think that, you know, as, you know, fans, we'd like to see a little bit of change. And I think that that's why you're seeing so many people be like, let's just see, no East and West. Let's just see the 16 teams. But in my opinion, like, there's nothing that's really been wrong in the past with the East and the West. Like, it's not like, I understand, especially this season, the Western Conference is just so much talented. There's 13 teams that got invited in the Western Conference, only 9 with the Eastern Conference. But, maybe I would like to see it just for a little bit of a change, but it's not to the point where I'm like going up to Adam Silver and being like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm fine with the East and West. And, maybe down the road, I eventually think we're going to get to the point where it's 16 teams and not East and West. I just think that with so many people wanting it and, I just think we're going to fall into that sooner rather than later.
I'm not against the idea. I just think this season it really wouldn't have worked as well as it's intended to be. It's supposed to show off the actual 16 best teams in basketball. But with this, everyone in the Eastern Conference got Eastern Conference schedules. That means they're playing every West team 2 times. So that's 30 games of your schedule. So, and you're playing Eastern Conference teams 52 times out of your schedule then.
Yeah.
Which is a lot easier compared to a Western Conference, which is 52 West to 30 East. So you would think that like someone like New Orleans or Portland, if they had a balanced schedule or they had the Eastern Conference schedule, they would be in over Brooklyn or Orlando. And they sure as hell will get in over Washington. Sorry, I had to get that in there. If you wanted to actually transition to it, you have to start off with the completely even level schedule. Basketball, if they want to be interesting, they have to make divisions matter a lot more because they really don't have divisions matter at all.
And in all honesty, like with NFL, you can name off every division like that.
Yeah.
But with the NBA, there's no reason to know who's in each division. All you need to know is what conference they're in.
It's the same with baseball. Baseball, you got 3 division winners and then 2 wildcard teams. That's one thing about the NBA and NHL that kind of bothers me. They don't have divisions matter at all. And I think it really just matters for your schedule. So who was one winner and one loser from this format change, in your opinion?
So one winner I can name right off the bat, I think it's Houston. I think that you look at Houston and kind of the way, as they reached the March 12th break or whatever, the coronavirus hit, they weren't playing their best basketball. And I think that giving that 2 months off gives Dan and Tony kind of a time to just, it gives them all a break on Houston. And I think that when they return, it's almost going to be like, I think that he's going to really reiterate to Westbrook and Harden and the whole Houston team what kind of needs to be done in order to, get a higher seeding, because being the 6th seed, that's a tough game against Denver. And I know Denver usually has that narrative of they lose early on in the playoffs, but they're still a great young team. And I think that Houston needs to try and get to that 5 or 4 seed if that's possible, in order to obviously not play against Denver. And I think that what we're going to see through this break is, I think we're going to see a huge improvement from that roster and that team, I guess from a, and I think that they're going to do really good when they come back. So I think that a winner in this instance is Houston. A loser, though, I have not, in all honesty, I don't really have one off the top of my head.
So my loser is the Lakers. Now, why I say the Lakers is because they were on a huge Now, why I say the Lakers is because they were on a fantastic stretch of games before the suspension of the season. I know they lost to Brooklyn because AD missed a wide open 3 at the end of the game, but, you know, let it be. They were killing it before. They also are losing home court, and they lose all that momentum, and now they're losing home court advantage, which is huge because of that Western playoffs, because all those teams are good. And you could potentially get upset by the 7th seed. I don't think Memphis really had a shot at beating them. I think Dallas could have definitely given them a problem.
Right.
But there's really not a loser, though. It's hard to say a loser. It's mostly just contending teams, top-end teams that lose home court. And
right, I was just about to add on, like, people don't realize how important home court is in the NBA. And especially deep in the playoffs.
Exactly.
And we're going to see that, because if it's like a game 7 at Staples Center, whoever you're playing against, the favorite is most likely going to be LA in that instance. To talk about a loser, because I had one pop into my mind.
Okay.
I would probably go with Toronto in this instance.
Interesting. With
Toronto, obviously, whatever streak they won on, 15 games, 14 games in a row, I think.
I think it was 16, something like that.
Whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Just to show that they were playing incredible basketball. I know it was a little bit before this, like, we got to the pandemic occurring, but it just shows that they were playing great basketball, and being that 2 seed, like, it looked like they were going to sustain that. But with this break, I expect, like, the Celtics especially to really make a jump and go after that 2nd seed. And you can't expect Brad Stevens to be like, okay, guys, we're getting that 2nd seed. And they're going to obviously just, like, go ham and just play great basketball. So Toronto, though, I mean, no one really had them as, like, a Eastern Conference Finals team. I think most people had Milwaukee versus Boston, unless you're Drake. Then
or Sixers. The Sixers were very hyped up before the year. People had them as the 1 seed, and they were going to win the finals. And now they want to trade Al Horford after paying him $100 million. But let's just leave that be. My winner is the Memphis Grizzlies. And reason being is, once the NBA season got suspended, is the Grizzlies had the toughest schedule in all of the league. And the Pelicans had the easiest schedule in all of the league. And the Pelicans currently are 3.5 games behind the Grizzlies, which the NBA has basically set up Memphis to get the 8th seed. They really have to fumble the bag in order to completely screw this up. And now you could lose it's most likely that the Western Conference is going to have that play in. Also, another question with that is, because Portland and New Orleans are tied right now at 9 seed, and Portland, I think, is above them. Question stands, what if there's a tie at the 9 seed? And who would get the advantage? Now, another crazy thing is, when the season got suspended, a lot of teams had different amount of games played. So now that everyone is playing 8 games, some teams are going to finish with different amounts of games. Now, let's say, I don't really know if Portland, or let's just say Portland and New Orleans as an example. Let's say Portland played 1 more game than the Pelicans before the season got suspended, and Portland won that game. That would put them a half game up if they finish with the same record.
But that's not fair.
Exactly. So would Portland get the 9 seed?
Maybe you could do that? I don't know, like, if this is a stupid statement by me, but, like, what if, like, because if Portland plays New Orleans and, like, Portland wins in this 8-game stretch, would they just win
like a tiebreaker thing
head to head because of the 8 games? I don't know if maybe that's a way to do it.
I think that'd be a way to do it if they're, like, legitimately tied in record with the same amount of wins and same amount of losses, because that's what they do with regular seeding. But I don't know if with the amount of different games, it would have to be a tiebreaker system or some very advanced mathematics that I can't even understand. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and it's, what if someone key tests positive for coronavirus? Like, they have to be out for 7 days at least, and that could be instrumental in a playoff run. Like, if It's after game 2 of the NBA Finals, and Giannis tests positive for coronavirus, and the Bucks are up 2-0, and then they lose 4 straight because Giannis is out for a week.
Yeah.
Is that championship going to be looked at as like,
oh yeah,
man, if Giannis was playing, the Bucks easily would have won because they were up 2-0. How much of an impact does that have on how this season is viewed?
I mean, like you said, and you're going to look at the star players and you're going to be like, if they're out, it's going to astronomically change the outcome of the series.
Yeah.
It's just, you really hope that it doesn't come down to that point.
Yeah.
But how can we be sure that it doesn't?
Yeah.
And they can't, like, because if, like you said, if the Bucks are up 2-0 and Giannis is out, everyone's going to be like, cancel the series. It's not fair. But
maybe, what if they did delay series because of a test positive, so it's fair?
Until he's fully recovered.
But that wouldn't really work because they have set days for other things.
Right,
then
that
have to
messes
keep
up
delaying.
the draft.
Yeah. So do you want a fair series and to make the season seem very fair in all accounts? Or do you, and you'll take that at the cost of delaying the next season and other things? Or do you just want to stick it out and say, you play who you play, this is basically a 1 week injury? But Giannis could, I mean, coronavirus can last for longer than 7 days. It could last for two weeks. You could die from it too.
I think that they should, even if it's not like because I feel like it's unfair to do this, but like, I feel like even if it's not that valuable of a player, I feel like you might still have to.
Yeah.
Like delay the season or like the series, because let's use the Giannis example though. If he gets corona and they lose the series and being up 2-0, what is every single person going to say?
The Bucks.
They lost because Giannis wasn't playing.
Yeah.
And I want it to be fair. And because next year's already messed up. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's just a reality. Let's not like, why don't we just mess it up a little bit more to have the season become a little bit okay? And I think it's a little bit of, But do you hold that double standard for the rest of the series? Like for the rest of the playoffs? So like if in the first round, in the West, like those rounds are very competitive. You would have to, but if someone keeps getting tested positive, you're just delaying everything even more. I don't really know if, because it's like, if someone gets it, someone else could get it, and someone else, and it's like a whole big mess.
Yeah, because if one person gets it, he could ripple it throughout the rest of his team, and then someone could give it through. I'm literally gonna cry.
I'm going to start. Catch me on the podcast. Just start crying. Why did this have to happen?
Because Rudy Gobert had it, and then Donovan Mitchell ended up testing positive for it. But there's also that thing where I think that's just the reality, and they're just going to have to live with it. I honestly don't think they would delay anything. Maybe the finals, but then you kind of just, you say F you to the series that came beforehand. Like, what if in a second round series, Jamal Murray got coronavirus? That would suck, but you could say that about more things for Jamal Murray, but
it's one of those unpredictable things that's going to happen, and it's really impossible for us to predict what Adam Silver and the whole board will do. Yeah. It's just, you hope it doesn't get to that point.
Yeah, I feel like it's inevitable though at some point, because Disney World is going to open up again soon. They have already said that, and now they're saying that no NBA players can go to Disney World. So the Lopez brothers are sad. They can't go to their favorite place.
That's LeBron on like the magic carpet ride.
And they're stacking games, and this so like the regular season, they're doing 5 games a day, and they're doing them throughout the day. It's like summer league style. They're not doing multiple games at night because they just don't have the amount of venues to do that. So we talked about how the real only losers in all of this are the higher seed teams that lose home court advantage.
Right.
Now, the thing is, there are some rumors or internal discussions from the ownership about some potential home court advantages that they could give to certain teams. The team gets possession at the start of every quarter, which is, I guess, whatever. But then there's also bigger ones that could have huge implications. An extra coaches challenge for the higher seed team. and a 7th foul for one player.
Who's probably going to be a star player.
Could you imagine LeBron James or Giannis with 7 fouls? Giannis fouls so much. Imagine that's huge.
Oh, I don't have to imagine because it's probably going to happen.
I don't think it should. I think that would completely. The 7th foul, I get the coach's challenge, but the 7th foul I think is really unfair.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that's a fair thing.
And I understand, because we just talked about this earlier, that like home court advantage is such a big deal, and that's why we gave the losers to higher seeds for the fact that we're not going to see home court advantage. But I feel like you shouldn't just kind of give like a bunch of just kind of, I guess, random things in a way just to be like, hey, they get home court.
We're going to go a little bit past the playoffs. We're going to go past that. We're going to be talking about, now, how does this affect the lottery? Because you're taking 8 teams out of the regular season now.
Yep.
And there are certain teams like the Washington Wizards, who shouldn't be here, that could potentially finish with a lesser record mathematically than a team like the Charlotte Hornets or the Chicago Bulls if they decide to go 0-8 or 1-7 or 2-6 like they're going to. The thing is, are you going to give the benefit to the Wizards if they want to tank, give them the better lottery odds? Is Adam Silver locking in the 8 teams with those top 8 lottery odds, even if a team shits the bed in the regular season and completely falls down the standings? Or are those teams going to be at 9, 8, 9, 10, etc.?
What I expect to happen is, like, let's use the Wizards. If they fall below the Hornets and the Bulls, I believe that they'll have better odds than the Hornets and the Bulls.
It's like cheap though, you know, because the whole point of it is you're supposed to be winning. And I think some teams like the Bucks or the Lakers, who have significant leads on the 2 seed, they only need to win a couple games in order to lock up the 1 seed in each of their conferences. And now that there's like no home court advantage, it really doesn't matter if they have the number 1 overall seed, because I mean, unless that 7 foul thing's going to be a deal. I wouldn't be shocked if you see LeBron James being sat in like the second half of those regular season games, or Giannis or Chris Middleton or Anthony Davis or anyone like that. Even teams like the Clippers, you know, they love to load manage their guys. If I'm going to use the Wizards again, I'm sorry, but if the Wizards or the Suns, who are supposed to be competing in order to get the 9 seed, in order to play the 8 seed, they should be winning those games. If they're deciding to tank, I mean, they're just taking advantage of you. So are you going to punish them at all? Or are you going to just let them do their thing? Because you did it to yourself technically by letting them allow them to do that.
I just don't think you're going to see an instance where like Phoenix or Washington is purposely like losing to get the better pick.
Yeah.
And it's a weird kind of instance because, like you said, if the Wizards are like, all right, like this is probably not gonna happen. But if like Scott Brooks goes up to like them and is like, guys, it's all about next year. Let's lose like 8 straight games. With the NBA lottery obviously changing, it's not like Washington has better percentages than Charlotte that they're automatically going to get a better pick.
Obviously. Like New Orleans got the first overall pick. New Orleans and Memphis got the first overall picks last year, and they had middle of the pack rounds.
Let's never forget when New York thought they were going to get Zion, KD, and Kyrie.
And then they ended up with Julius Randle, Alfred Payton, and RJ
Barrett.
Now, one thing that a lot of people have been talking about the past 3 months, because since the suspension, is that will this NBA championship have an asterisk on it? And
the whole point of an asterisk, however you say it, is it's an altered season. It's different than the rest. Yeah. It's literally a different season than we've seen time in and time out. Mm-hmm. And even with that, though, like, I'm not going to discredit anyone that wins the finals. To me, that's 100% deserved. And if LeBron, let's say for an example, wins his 4th ring, I'm not going to be like, well, it was a different year. Like it was different. So
you're saying you're saying in the way that it's an asterisk in the way that this season will permanently have this stigma on it that it was the coronavirus season, and not the fact that everyone was playing in a level playing field, and there's no home court advantage now. And the playoff atmosphere plays a huge role in some teams winning because some of that gets to people. Now you got the coronavirus, so if some star player comes out, that championship might be like looked at as tampered for the rest of time.
I think if it's one of those instances like you just said, like if we keep using these 2 players as an example, but like if Giannis is out for the Bucks and the Lakers go on winning when the Bucks are up, like yes, I'm gonna be like, it's a little questionable.
Yeah.
But if everyone is healthy, I still think there'll be an asterisk, but like I'm not going to discredit the finals.
Well, the thing is, everyone said the same thing about early 2010s lockout season where the Heat won the championship. Everyone said that was going to be an asterisk season. And they also said the same thing back in 97 about the Spurs when Tim Duncan won his first chip. Now, the thing is,
Just to correct you, it was 99.
It was 99?
Yeah, 97 was the Bulls.
The Bulls, yeah, it was the Bulls. I thought about that because of The Last Dance. You're right. In 99, Tim Duncan won his first chip, and it was a lockout season again. And Shaq always says that Tim Duncan didn't win 5. He won 4. And people just forget about the first one because he kept winning. Just a regular season, just less games.
Right.
Same playoffs, same everything. This is entirely different.
This is different. This is right.
Entirely different.
We've seen lockouts, and lockouts will probably occur in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But have we ever seen in a pandemic happen in the regular, like in the middle of the season? And that's why like people are going to refer to this as the coronavirus season. Regardless on if we think they should or not.
Yeah, and next season could be the same. We really just don't know.
Don't say that, man. Don't say that.
It's sad to think about. I know. What is one change you would make to all of this? Now, the simple answer is, my change would be that coronavirus never existed.
If you look at kind of the time frame they had to make a decision, and I think that the way kind of Adam Silver's handled this and chose the format, I think he's done a really good job. And I think that, like I said way back in the beginning of this video, there's maybe a couple of things you could point out, but with like, this is crazy, I think that he and the whole NBA as a whole has done a good job. Yeah. So I can't really bash, what's going to happen in the future. But if there's one thing I would change, I honestly can't really think of a set thing that I'm really mad about.
Look,
I don't know if you do.
I also would make a change to have everyone end up with the same amount of games played. I think that's actually kind of a key thing because I don't want that situation where Portland, like I said earlier, Portland has a half game up on the Pelicans because they played one extra game in the regular season. I think they'd have to have everyone end with the same amount of games, and you just, whatever you end with, you go to, everyone's around like 65 or something like that. You go to 72 and you cut it. I think that's what you could do, but that's kind of tricky with the scheduling. So I guess that's why they're doing 8. So I kind of understand it, but if they could somehow make it work, that's what I would try to do.
Yeah, and it's just like there's so many things that like could go wrong, and it's just like, I mean, you can't get too mad at what they decided because we just don't know what's gonna happen.
And all that we care about now.
What are we like?
That's all I care about. That's all I'm happy no matter what because we're having sports come back. I'm gonna watch hockey like the most I ever have in my life because it's the only sport on. And I'm not a huge NHL guy, but the MLB is just doing nothing right now.
I don't think we're gonna see an MLB season. And
if we do, it's gonna be 48 games or something real short. Basketball's back, and that's all that matters. And I think everyone can agree on that. We're all happy. We all get to see our favorite teams come back, except if you're one of those 8. And I'm sorry for you that you root for those teams in general. But that really pretty much wraps it up. Do you have anything you wanna say?
No, and I think that, I was so excited to seeing what was going to happen in March and April.
Yeah.
That was taken away from us. Such a shame. But look, it's back. NBA is coming back. We know when it's literally coming back. We're not predicting. We're not guessing. July 31st, you can turn on your TV and you'll see actual NBA footage. And like, how can you not be excited?
I'm just excited that basketball is back. And speaking of basketball being back, we're getting another basketball video on this channel coming out within the next week. Kurt, did you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, so, Sam is hitting you with a NBA top 50 players list. Best list ever. Me and him kind of worked on the list. We perfected it. So make sure you guys are looking out for that. It's coming out the next week. And obviously stay tuned for more ASC YouTube videos when they come out. Best YouTube channel by far. It's not even close.
By far.
Yeah.
Yes, that list is going to be a little controversial. Let's just get that out of the way. But
when Sam explains you why he has players there, you're going to be like, okay, I agree.
With all that being said, guys, thank you all for watching this video. I want to thank Kurt for coming on. He's a newbie on our YouTube channel. He just made his new video, the NFL record predictions. He did great on it. Please go check it out. It should be on screen right now, or it should be on screen after all this. But also follow at All Sports Culture on Instagram because, all the other guys, they kill it on there. Listen to Highlighted.
Yes, listen to Highlighted. Best podcast probably of all time, if I'm being honest.
With all that being said, guys, thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't liked the video. It really helps. Thank you all, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And a lot of people are just going to expect Houston to upset. Houston